The lecture hall of the Galactic Academy fell silent as Professor Zarthul, a towering Valkyrian with crystalline skin that refracted light in rainbow patterns, posed the question that would change everything. Before we begin our study of interstellar ethics and conflict resolution, the professor's translator unit hummed, "I must ask how many of you have taken a sentient life?" The question hung in the air like a charged particle. Among the 200 students from 47 species, a handful of appendages rose hesitantly. 3 Korthian warriors, their battle scars visible even through their uniforms, a lone Sithrak hunter, mandibles clicking nervously, a Dravian enforcer from the outer colonies. Then the humans moved. 32 hands shot up in perfect unison, every single human in the class except one. Professor Zarthul's optical organs widened, their color shifting from educational blue to alarmed yellow. Surely there is some translation error? Ken, sitting in the 3rd row with his standard-issue Academy jumpsuit somehow looking more casual than regulation, kept his hand raised. His voice was steady, almost matter-of-fact. "No error, Professor. You asked who's killed. We have." The Valkyrian's translator struggled with the inflection. "But you are students. Young ones. The humans sent to this academy average only 23 solar cycles in age. You are scholars, not soldiers." Mia, seated 2 rows behind Ken, her dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, spoke up. "With respect, Professor, those things aren't mutually exclusive where we come from." "Explain." It wasn't a request. Ken lowered his hand but stood, as was protocol. "Earth is a death world, Professor. You know this. It's in our admission files. What you might not know is what that actually means in practical terms." "I have read the xenobiological reports," Zarthul said, their tone defensive. "Gravity 1.3 times standard. Atmospheric oxygen levels that would be toxic to most species. Weather patterns that—" "No, sir." This from another human, James, an engineering student from the African Federation. "With respect, those reports don't tell you anything. They don't tell you about the predators," Mia nodded, taking over. "On Earth, Professor, humans aren't the only apex predators. We're not even the only intelligent hunters. We share our world with creatures that see us as food. Bears that can snap a spine with one swipe. Great cats that stalk in silence. Crocodilians that have remained evolutionarily unchanged for millions of years because they are already perfect killing machines. And the small ones are worse," Ken added. "Insects that carry diseases which have killed billions of us throughout history. Arachnids with venom that can stop a heart in minutes. Parasites that burrow into your brain. Bacteria that can devour flesh." Professor Zarthul's color shifted to confused orange. "Then why do you not leave this world? Why do you not evacuate?" A laugh rippled through the human section. Not cruel, just genuinely amused. "Because it's home," Ken said simply. "And because we learned to fight back. Every human here has killed, Professor. Maybe it was a venomous snake that got into their home. Maybe it was a rabid animal threatening their family. Maybe it was putting down livestock humanely for food. Maybe it was mercy killing a deer hit by a vehicle suffering on the roadside." Mia continued, her voice softer now. "I was 12 when I killed my first animal, Professor. A coyote had gotten into our chicken coop. My father was away. My mother was sick. It was me or our food supply for the winter. I chose us." Around the hall, other species shifted uncomfortably. The Velkorans were herbivores from a garden world. The Sithrak hunted, yes, but only in ritual. The Korthians only killed in formal combat. This casual relationship with death, this necessity of it, was alien to them. "And you?" Professor Zarthul's gaze fixed on the one human who hadn't raised her hand. "You have not killed?" Sarah, the human medical student, remained seated, her hands folded calmly on her desk. "No, Professor. I haven't. Why not?" "Because I chose a different path." Sarah's voice was quiet but carried clearly in the silent hall. "Where I come from, we have an oath. First, do no harm. I decided when I was young that I would be a healer, not a taker of life. Others protected me so I could make that choice." Ken glanced back at Sarah and nodded with what could only be described as respect. "Sarah's killed more than any of us, Professor. Just not in the way you mean." "Explain this contradiction." "She's killed diseases," Mia said. "Infections, cancers. She's fought death itself and won more times than we've fought actual physical threats. On Earth, we have warrior healers. They're the bravest of us because they run toward danger, while armed with nothing but knowledge and the will to save lives." Sarah's cheeks colored slightly. "That's overdramatic. It's true, Ken said firmly. Then turning back to the professor, you asked this question to teach us about the sanctity of life, didn't you? To show us that killing is rare, that civilized beings avoid it? Yes, Zarthul admitted. Then let me offer a human perspective, Ken said. We know exactly how precious life is because we've had to fight for ours since the moment our species evolved. We know what it costs to take a life because we've had to make those choices. And we know the value of those who preserve life, he gestured to Sarah, because we've needed them desperately. Mia stood now too. Humans don't kill easily, Professor. Every one of us who raised our hand, we remember what we killed, when and why. Those memories don't fade. But we also don't pretend that killing is always avoidable. Sometimes it's you or them. Sometimes it's your family or the predator. Sometimes mercy is the kindest blade. Professor Zarthul was quiet for a long moment, their colors cycling through shades no translator could interpret. Finally they spoke. I have taught interstellar ethics for 40 cycles. I have had students from peaceful worlds and warlike species. I have never encountered a people who understand both the necessity and the weight of death as you humans do. The professor's color shifted to respectful purple. Perhaps it is we who have the lesson to learn today. Ken sat back down, and the humans exchanged glances. They hadn't meant to shock anyone. They'd simply answered honestly. As the lecture continued, other species looked at their human classmates with new eyes. Not with fear, the humans were friendly, generous with help, quick to laugh. But with understanding. These were a people forged in fire, tempered by a world that tried to kill them daily, and yet they chose to reach for the stars anyway. They chose to be explorers, scientists, diplomats, and healers, and that perhaps was the most human thing of all.